Hello and welcome to the Small World Podcast. In this week's episode, sensitive topics will be addressed. Listener discretion is advised. Hello and welcome to the Small World Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Long.
I'm Austin Newborn.
And I'm Nate Pearson.
And I threw everyone in this room for a loop when I took a pause after saying hello.
Yes, I almost cried.
And with us this week we have...
Trevor McInnes is the name. I'm gonna be real. I thought this was like a job interview. You guys kind of got me
Maybe
like,
it is. It might be.
It might be. We might be interviewing for a fourth co-host.
This might be a thing. We
Oh,
need no
boy.
chairs.
You know what they say, four is a crowd.
Kinda.
Unpaid internship.
Unpaid internship?
Unpaid internship. He could do
Wait
the
a minute,
video
you guys
editing.
are getting paid?
Money?
No, I'm just kidding. Trevor, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing great. I kind of spent a lot of my day in the past few days just kind of binging the podcast. You know, learning the cast and everything. And I got to say, it is definitely one of the most well put together podcasts I've listened to.
Aww.
I don't listen to any podcasts, so. But if I did, this sure would be up there.
Nice.
Well,
So-
with that being the case, we have a game for you, Trevor.
Oh, you have a game for me?
The game is called What Did We Retain?
Oh,
This is
What
completely
did we
impromptu.
retain?
nice.
I'm going to ask you questions about my co-host, and we're going to see how much you remember.
Oh, I thought this was a joke about my retainer. Go on.
You have braces?
Now we know.
No.
Okay, so what does Austin do for a living?
Uh-oh.
He is a plumber.
Oh, 1 for 1. Ding, ding, ding. Where did Nate go to college?
Oh, was Nate the one that went to the school you guys didn't like? It was like, I don't know, for some reason the word brown is coming to mind.
Hey, it's got a B in it. We'll give him
It
that.
does have a B in it.
It's like Barton something?
Yeah!
All right, cool.
Two out
cool.
of two,
I'm not
two out of
I'm not
two.
too familiar with like the college scene because, you know, the only college I know of is NC State, all the North Carolina colleges, and Wake Tech because they gave me a free scholarship.
Oh, shout out to Wake Tech.
Don't worry, Barton's
Shout
not
out
on the
to
college
Wake
scene.
Yeah, it's there. It's a thing.
We'll do 2 more questions.
All right, cool.
I don't know. Do you guys have one?
Austin, you go first and I'll ask one.
Oh, okay.
Nate's got
We
one
did an
already.
episode where we came up with nicknames for ourselves. What was Nate's nickname?
Oh man, well, you gotta give me a hint on this one. Were they themed nicknames?
Kinda. It was retaining to the episode before, and he was talking about how much he enjoyed the bottom of a McWrap at McDonald's,
The snack wrap.
the snack wrap.
Mr. Tortilla? I don't know.
Close. Didn't get that one.
That's
but
even better. I like that more than Ranch Pocket.
The answer was
Mr.
ranch
Ranch
pocket.
Pocket. Oh,
Ranch pocket.
yeah. Oh man.
All right, I got one. I'm going to leave episode 1. All right, so on an episode, we had a guest by the name of Candace. All right, what did she freelance?
Me like that.
There was a certain type of work she freelanced. What was it?
Dang, I don't even know.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that was
Photography,
one of them.
art,
That's
yeah.
actually right. So, yeah,
Photography.
It makes like you're
Okay,
technically
cool.
correct.
minus 1
What
point.
was like the actual answer?
It was
Just art.
all types of
That's
art.
fair.
Okay, I have a question though. This isn't a question like that kind of question. So since you've listened to the podcast, who is your favorite host?
Oh, don't put him on the spot like
him on the
that.
spot.
See, I'm a bit
Rank us
biased.
1 to
since
3.
I've met Chris. I'm gonna be honest. I'm horrible with names, especially when I can't put faces to them.
Okay.
So to me, it is Chris and then 2 faceless people that hang out with him.
Let's go.
Well, if,
Who's your favorite
if we
faceless
had
person?
Stuff on YouTube.
I wouldn't be able to do YouTube. I have you guys on Spotify where I have the podcasts downloaded, so I can listen to them when I drive up to Wilson through backcountry nowhere on my journey. I stop by I drive by every time I go up to Wilson. I drive by a place called Peed Nursery, and it's always the highlight of my trip because I can point out the window and say Peed.
I know where Peed Nursery is. I've seen that one. I've done the same thing.
Yeah,
It's
like all the way from the roundabout to get to Wilson, all the way to like where you turn right at the light.
Okay.
I know that's very vague, but it's like a 30-minute stretch. There is no signal. So I found out that I have to actually download the podcast to listen to it on that stretch.
Shout out to you, Trevor.
Nice.
Yes.
Trevor, if you ever want to be on the pod, just let us know.
I'll be sure to do that.
So
I'll keep that one in mind.
I will say though, this episode is going to be the first episode that is on Spodcast in video format because we can do that now.
We can do it.
We were invited by Spotify as an early access podcast to try that feature, and we haven't used it yet.
Wow.
So we're going to use it.
Nice.
Oh man, I wish I could have been there in person then.
They told me.
Trevor, you definitely could have been. I messaged you like 3 hours ago asking if you wanted to be here in person, and you said no.
Yeah, to be fair, 3 hours ago, at the time, I thought it was going to be like 2 hours until the podcast started. I had a couple things to do, and gas is also like $5 a gallon.
This is true.
Gas is stupid expensive for no reason.
Yep.
Wilson is like an hour drive. Fun fact, every time I've driven up to Wilson on a day that was not the weekend, my car broke, so I'm not taking that risk.
That is
I'm a very
real story.
I'm a very superstitious person. I don't know if Chris has seen the picture, but last Wednesday I went up to Wilson, and as I was driving home, I smelled like burning rubber, and I looked over and like there was a lot of smoke. So I pull off into like it was like a Papa Jack's pizza place and like gas station.
Not Papa Jack's.
Yeah, it was there. I was outside there at like 1 a.m, and I get out of my car, and it looks like someone had taken a knife and cut a big circle in my tire all the way around. No, I mean it is what it is. It was a good life experience. I got to truly become a man as I was sitting there next to my car, cussing at it at 3 a.m, replacing my tire with a spare, which I had to drive the hour-long drive home on.
That sounds awful. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I wish I had
makes for
a knife to casually hold up for the camera right now.
you just hold it up like it was me.
Yep.
No, that's terrible though. That sounds like an awful experience.
Oh yeah, and then last time I drove into the ditch right outside of White Dragon.
You what?
That's how those tire marks got there.
What?
I'm just
No,
it's
closer to the Bojangles, but it was the time I brought up there's the pit like way outside of the Lowe's, like right in front of right by the Bojangles, in between White Dragon and Bojangles. I wasn't paying attention. It was dark out. I feel my car go up and then down, and I'm like, that's weird. I don't think speed bumps work like that. So I get out and my car isn't moving because 2 of the 4 tires are suspended in the air. And I had to get a tow truck from Clayton to come get me because that's where my insurance is based out of. So.
You're not the first person I've heard about that happening to. I drove by and I specifically remember a guy standing outside of his car. It was a blue Dodge Dart. His wheels were just hanging over the edge. And he was stuck.
Wait. Stop. What kind of car do you drive?
Huh?
What kind of car do you drive?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, don't embarrass me like this, man.
No.
It's not.
No. I'm just making sure it's not a blue Dodge Dart.
Okay.
No, it is not a blue Dodge Dart. I will
like
tell
a year
you.
Ago.
I will tell you, it is a bright yellow Mazda Protege 6 or 5, I think. 2003 Mazda Protege 5.
Absolute
great car. I absolutely love it. It was
classic.
nicknamed the Mango Mobile.
It's a good nickname.
It had a few other nicknames, some that aren't exactly the most appropriate, but
I already know
digress.
one.
Oh, what is it, Chris? Enlighten me.
Oh,
I didn't say that.
No,
Austin
that
did.
was me. I already know one.
I apologize, Austin.
I don't want to say it though. It's a wagon, right?
It's a wagon.
Oh, I know. Then never mind. I owned a wagon. I know the nicknames. So
anyway, I had no idea you got stuck in that ditch. That's hilarious.
There was a group of young teenagers who drove by, asked if I was okay, and then they proceeded to ask me if I was part of Fake Taxi, which I happily declined.
Oh no!
wow.
They
So
really
that
need
was
to
an
fill those
experience.
holes with dirt because, like, for the listeners who don't know, it's like a slight incline and then like a 3-foot dip.
Yeah, it's random.
Oh, you want
Just
to know
like
the
a
best
pit.
part? the holes were filled because it was raining really hard that night.
Oh no!
This is the worst
That's
of
that.
the
I
worst.
I considered attempting to drive out of it, but like every time I like tried to put my foot on the gas, I heard like scratching, like just my paint against the concrete there, and I was like, this isn't a good idea.
No.
Yeah, probably not.
But no, I get into the hole. I open my door and I step out, and I don't like shoes. They're a bit kind of annoying to wear. I like to wear like slides or like sandals and stuff.
Oh, I'm barefoot right
With
now.
socks because I'm a delinquent. So I step out of my car and like up to my ankle is just submerged in water.
Oh, that's fun.
Yum.
That was a good night. I was I was visibly upset as I walked back into the White Dragon soaking wet.
Was I there that night?
I don't think you were.
Okay, because I was about to say I don't remember that happening.
To be fair, I was very hush hush about it.
I would also be embarrassed, but now all of our listeners know.
Yes. They
Oh
do.
yes.
So, Trevor, you say you live about an hour away. What have you always lived? Relatively close to the area, or where are you from originally?
I've always been the state, North Carolina. I've always kind of been in the area I am now.
Okay.
Cool. What was the upbringing like? The experience.
The upbringing was just kind of just very, very typical upbringing. I was definitely very, very sheltered. It's kind of become a running joke that I grew up on a commune.
Oh.
Just because of my lack of more young media, like I didn't know VeggieTales. When I really met everyone there, it was a great experience. I forget who it was. It started off with you and the other Chris talking about Ice Age.
Yep.
And you guys were describing the plot, and I was sitting there completely dumbfounded. I thought you guys were like high or something. It was definitely an experience hearing the plot of Ice Age out of context, not being explained to you, but being talked to someone else who understands the plot.
Oh.
Because I heard snippets of like there was a sloth and a really dumb yet muscular baby.
The baby
And it was-
from
it was-
Ice Age.
The baby
no.
Ice Age.
The Ice Age baby. Not
And that turned into a whole slew of questions of like, oh, do you know this? Do you know that? And Chris finally asked me, please tell me you know VeggieTales. And I was like, no, I cannot say I do. And he described it as vegetables with Christian themes. And I was like, all right.
Yep. That's about
You're
it.
100% accurate, but if someone didn't know Ice Age, I wouldn't assume they know VeggieTales.
We were just going off of like early 2000s.
But fun fact, like on one of my first phones or tablets I ever got, a free movie on it was Ice Age. The first Ice Age. It was just a free
Such a good
film
movie.
up there.
Thank you for that, Nate.
A little tidbit about information there.
So, have you watched any VeggieTales content since we had that conversation?
I have not listened to as much as I'd like to. I think I got about 30 seconds into that one song you asked me to listen to.
You didn't listen to the whole
and then
Was it cheeseburger?
no, I didn't.
Yes.
I got
I
about
knew
30
it.
seconds in before I was actually driving up to Wilson. I ended up having to pull over to properly pause the song because I was like going down I was going down like the highway. I had to pull over because I couldn't find the pause button without lifting my eyes off the road.
Yeah.
So I had to pull over to turn off this god awful VeggieTales song.
Yeah. Not Mr.
not
Lit.
awful. It's
Mr.
great.
Lit is good. Oh, man.
He said I was extremely hungry. Oh, VeggieTales is a classic. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh,
So, what
man.
kind of music do you like if you don't like VeggieTales?
Anything but?
You say that as if like VeggieTales is such a common thing to listen to.
It is.
We live in the
I
South.
listen to a lot of
One of
stuff.
the best genres.
A band I've been listening to a lot recently. It's the Dead South. They're more of like a Western type band. I honestly don't know the best way to describe them.
Like Coulter Wall.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, he's a Western, too.
I'm not a very cultured person,
Oh.
just because of the upbringing being very very much education focused. I
Clearly,
guess.
you didn't know VeggieTales.
Yeah, but the dead south. I had a phase when I first started doing management shifts at my job where I would come in the morning, be completely alone for the first few hours. I'd actually bring a speaker with me, and I would listen to sea shanties as I prepared the dough for the day.
Hey.
Which is it's a very weird contrast to hear like some swashbuckling pirate and then see some chubby kid stretching dough. But yeah, I've listened to all genres. Like I had like a rap phase,
Nice.
and I still go back. I have a playlist with like every song I've ever liked on it, and I go back and just go through there every once in a while. The only genre I can confidently say I don't have like an interest in is country. Just
Austin's
because
face.
I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of acoustic guitars played boringly.
Oh,
Ow.
he totally
That's
got you
all
there.
I'll say on that.
Yeah, well, I don't like new country.
Okay.
I like old country.
Austin's a big country guy.
I do like country.
That's fair.
Yeah. Not only certain country. I'm very picky about my country, Chris, and you know
You're
this.
very picky about
You
your
are.
country.
Yes, very picky.
He's a country purist.
This is
Gotta
getting into
have-
some
it's
territories
gotta
that could be
have
taken very out of context.
It's gotta have
Yeah,
wine.
points at the map behind us and starts speaking out countries he likes and when he doesn't.
Algeria.
Yeah, I heard Eastern Bulgaria is doing pretty well this year.
Eastern
Where's Bulgaria at on this map? So we got a new tapestry as a part of our decorum for the room.
Welcome to the new studio, everybody.
big word,
I'm looking
Chris.
at the camera.
Yeah, decorum or studio.
Hey, studio.
For you both.
This is a new studio. It's a completely
Yeah.
new room. Look at it, guys. This is completely
have
not the same room
Over
as
here,
before.
let me find. What country was I saying?
You said
Bulgaria?
East Bulgaria. I think it's near Poland.
Near Poland?
Bulgaria is near. There is no East Bulgaria though. It's just Bulgaria.
Oh, I see Bulgaria. It's right under Romania.
Yes.
Oh, this map is really old. It's not Russia. It's the USSR on here.
Oh,
Same thing. Same thing.
That's fun.
You actually got a
Recent
futuristic
events.
map.
Same thing.
The futuristic
That's
map.
Russia 2023.
no. So anyway, back to your upbringing. So
Back to my upbringing?
when you say it was very educational focused, what did that look like?
A lot of like I know there's a lot of back when I really got into like middle school and high school stuff, I started seeing a lot of advertisements on TV for these like programs you could get on like your computer to like prepare your child to start school, like teach you how to count and read and the alphabet and stuff like that. So it was definitely a lot of that type of thing and a lot less kind of normal kid media. Like I know a popular thing was like stuff like SpongeBob and like Nickelodeon. No, I had to watch PBS Kids.
Same.
So you know, like the Science Kids, and they look like they're made out of Play-Doh.
Sid
I
the
forget the
Science
name, but I
Kid.
watched a lot of that.
Yeah, Sid.
Sid the Science
Sid,
Kid?
yes, that's
Sid
what
the
it is.
Science
Oh, that was,
Kid.
I love that show.
Oh,
Was my
yeah.
jam. I loved it.
What about Word Girl?
Word.
I don't know Word Girl.
Word girl. Martha speaks.
Nate gets up to leave.
Cyber Chase?
Cyber Chase.
No, that sounds a lot cooler than Sid the Science
It's
Kid.
on
I'm not gonna
PBS
lie.
Kids. It's
It's
all
on
PBS
PBS.
Kids content.
Let me think.
Great times.
The fact that you have such a vast knowledge of PBS
there was
Kids
a
content.
period in my life
Between
where we
the
did not
lines.
have satellite or cable, and it was before Netflix.
Yes.
PBS Kids.
Yes. Between the
Oh
lines.
man,
Reading between
the
the
shows
lines.
you know might be a bit
Reading
before
Rainbow?
my time.
Not reading
From
Rainbow.
PBS Kids.
Reading Rainbow.
Even like I'm definitely gonna expose my age here. I was after the Reading Rainbow time.
No!
He said, "Oh no,
Not your childhood.
I just can't. There's some
I
Dragon
mean,
Tales.
I still
I
feel
remember Dragon
like
Tales.
a
Clifford.
child.
Let's say.
Clifford was goated.
Oh, yes.
Clifford was goaded.
Did you know they made a
With
live
sauce.
action Clifford?
They did.
What kind of dog is Clifford in the live action one?
I have
I
no
don't know.
idea.
Is
very
it just
original.
like
It's a big red
What
dog.
kind of dog?
Just a big red dog. It's a CGI big
It's
red
a
dog.
giant
but
red
it's a
chihuahua.
It looks like a lab. I'll put it there.
What if it's like a husky? It's just
No.
massive and red.
He's got floppy ears.
It's a pit bull.
It's a pit bull.
dog? It's a pug.
It's a pug.
Bro, they're in an apartment. They never let a pit bull in there.
Oh, man.
Oh man. Okay, so very educational focused. What was school like for you?
It was definitely it was very easy. In for most of it. I'm finishing up my last semester in high school now. But
Congrats.
for like all the way from my first year in school all the way to like 10th grade, it was a breeze. It was the easiest thing to do, partly because of the way I was raised, and I like to think it has something to do with I'm very very ADHD, and so like I could never not turn in an assignment. It could never not be perfect type of thing. I
I
was
can relate.
definitely a very very perfectionist, but once COVID hit and I wasn't physically present in the school, it became extremely difficult, and I became extremely unmotivated to actually log in. And then this even started like the end of 10th grade, or like towards the middle, towards the end, where it just started to go downhill. Like the first semester of my sophomore year, I was a straight A student, and then the second semester, I was lucky if I even passed the class. Um, so it's like it's weird because like all the way from elementary school to high school, I had straight A's, and then my junior year, I had a zero in every class because the entire year was online. I didn't go to a single class and turn in a single assignment all year. So that definitely didn't set me up well for this year. But I have gotten a lot better. I am going to be able to graduate this year, which is good.
Nice.
Awesome.
So you said you were a perfectionist. How has that affected everything else you do in life outside of school?
I The perfectionist really only comes down to school. I'm not a very heavily motivated person. I just find that things regarding schoolwork came naturally to me. So it was very easy to do well on them. And like I didn't want to do that kind of work subpar when I knew I was capable of so much more. So it was just kind of one of those things.
Gotcha. Cool. So would you say it's fair to say that your shift in your work balance was affected directly due to COVID, or were there other outside factors?
Um, it definitely started with COVID, but even while that was going on, I actually got a job, my first job, which I still have, at at a Marco's Pizza, um, and they were definitely not doing the best. So they very early on, I got promoted to shift leader and
Nice.
started working like 8 to 10 hour shifts 6 days a week,
Oh,
while
man.
also in school,
Mm.
which were a very very difficult and quick transition, to the point where I think it was around Halloween, I had a really really bad breakdown, had to leave early just because of like how bad it had gotten, because I kind of like sat to myself there and said, I'm really failing high school over this, because this was like right before I turned everything around. So I ended up moving down to one shift a week, and that's definitely been helping a lot, which is always good.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was gonna kind of
Yeah.
try to follow up there with what changed that you were able to recover from that?
Just kind of like I started paying attention more in class. I started making sure I got things done on time. I was definitely a lot of following up with teachers about what needed to be done,
All right.
which is yeah, I'd highly recommend doing that. Talk to your teachers, kids. They want what's best for you. They're not like some evil creature that just want to fail you. Especially science teachers. Those are the coolest
Especially
people you'll
science
ever meet.
There you
They
go.
are.
Except you, teacher whose name I can't remember, that taught microeconomics at Wilson Community College. I will never forget you.
Microeconomics isn't a
Shout out to
science
that
course, is
teacher.
it?
No, I wasn't saying it was.
Anti shout
He
out
said
to that
all
teacher. There we
teachers
go.
Okay.
have your best interest in mind,
Oh,
except that guy. I cannot. I don't
Just
remember
not
his
that
name.
one guy.
I'll never forgive him.
Wilson Community. Yep.
So if you're listening and you taught microeconomics at Wilson Community College, just know you are not invited on the podcast. But that's a story for another day. I'm not the guest.
Oh man. No, you're not.
So, of course, there's a story that I want to hear that was kind of the catalyst for you coming on the podcast to begin with.
Yeah.
So- Go ahead.
Yeah, go on. No, I didn't have anything to say.
I was
Sorry.
just gonna prelude it a little bit. So you had a run-in with ketamine, correct?
Yes, I did. I had a few run-ins with ketamine.
Yeah, I want to.
Um,
Let's hear more about that.
So it started off with the depression treatment because if people don't know, ketamine is actually a drug they use in the medical industry when modern forms of antidepressant stuff like that. It just seems like nothing's working because it does put you in a state of just kind of not really forgetfulness, but more of just like you don't really see the bad things anymore. And it definitely turned into kind of like a high chase after that. And it was something that I was luckily able to turn around, and something I'm very grateful I was able to turn around.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What was it like without, reopening any wounds or anything? That's definitely not the goal. So just say as much as you're comfortable talking about.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with talking about it. It's something that I'm ashamed of what it turned into, but it's not something I'm ashamed of talking about.
Right. And you should be proud of coming out of it.
Yeah, that's definitely the biggest thing. I guess the first time it was I think it was my third visit to a mental hospital, psychiatric ward type thing. I think it was Holly Hill.
Oh yeah,
was what the place was called, but nothing was really working right. So they had me sign some forms. They told me what was going on, and it was. I don't remember much of the day. I just remember being in a chair with an IV in my arm, and it was just like after a few minutes, it was like, okay, well, nothing's really happening, and then all of a sudden, it was like, bam, like just there's nothing bad in the world. Everyone should just come together, hold hands, and just why can't people just be peaceful? Like, why can't people just feel like I'm feeling now? I'd be hard pressed to not describe it as one of the best feelings a human could ever feel. And like that feeling definitely lasted for into the rest of the week. Like it's not like I was impaired. It was just kind of in the back of my mind, just like a good happy feeling.
That kind of changed your perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. So
but that's kind of like one of the effects of it. It's supposed to linger like that for a while.
Gotcha. So how did that devolve?
Once it really wore off, and I got discharged from the hospital. I got cleared in a sense. It got really bad again. And I was very afraid to tell anyone just because I hated the hospital experience that much that I'd do anything to avoid going back just because it was shameful just like to know that's where I ended up because of my actions. So there's it's not difficult to find stuff like that if you know where to look. And it quickly turned into I started to spend paychecks on it, like entire paychecks on it.
Oh, yeah.
And that was kind of what my weekends and a lot of the time was devoted to. And it got bad to the point where I was doing it like every week, every weekend. And it definitely became a very, very big part of my life. Because it was I didn't want to go back to a place I wasn't comfortable with, and that was a feeling of comfort that I hadn't had in a while.
Gotcha. I'm not very educated on like how you take it. Is it like I doubt it's not like you smoke it, right? Do you inject
it?
No,
it's an injection. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
Oh yeah, you said that with the IV. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, it's all right. There's different ways to do different things, but I always had it as an injection.
So was your family aware that this was going on, or was this something that you were kind of doing in private?
No, this is something. There used to be a pretty big woods behind my house, like a very, very big, like not really forest. Like I could see my house, and when I couldn't see my house, I could see the highway behind it. So it's not like I was in the middle of nowhere. Like if I needed help, I could find it easily. But that was definitely where I went to do that. I ended up carving out like a stash spot in a tree where I kept it.
Gotcha.
And I'd go up there every weekend and just kind of like set up a chair, bring a book.
And how do you inject it? Like, did you have a syringe or like a whole IV set up?
No, I had a syringe that I disinfected every time. That was one of the biggest things, was like safety, because I heard like all these stories about like dirty needles and stuff, because this was like right back when I think it was like Ebola and stuff like that
Oh yeah.
that was going around, and like the HPV epidemic with like dirty needles. So that was definitely a big fear of mine. So I always made sure to like I disinfected and stuff like that.
Gotcha. And when this was going on, did your family find out, or were they just oblivious to it the whole time?
They didn't really find out, because I always was under the ruse of, oh, I'm going to work or I'm going to a friend's house,
Gotcha.
and because I worked night shifts over the weekends, so I usually get home after they were asleep,
Yeah.
and I could usually mask it by the time we all woke up. So this is yeah.
Gotcha. And so what did it look like coming out of that?
It was definitely a difficult thing to do, but it ended up causing me to lose a very important relationship to me at the time with a girl I really liked. I won't go into too much into details on that. That's kind of still a rough point, but after that ended, I definitely realized I needed to make a change, and I just stopped going into the woods. It was more of I had to force myself not to. Like it was definitely a journey of finding other things to give me a sense of purpose. And that's really when I started to get into Yu-Gi-Oh, because that definitely gave me a good feeling of purpose, and that's when I started to like focus more on school and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Cool.
Cool.
So, talking a little bit about Yu-Gi-Oh, how did you get into that? Was there someone who got you into that, or did you kind of find that on your own?
So it was actually my sister that got me into it.
Your sister?
Because she definitely, yeah, my sister.
Interesting.
Yeah, she wasn't always my sister. I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Interpret that as you will. I don't know, just kind of the politics of the podcast, so I'll just leave it there.
You can say whatever you want
grew
to.
up-
You're the topic of discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. It's also a privacy thing for her.
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
Yeah. So just my sister, she grew up with it. She grew up like a big nerd like that.
Gotcha.
Or like
Wait.
back then.
Time out. Are you calling us all nerds?
No, I'm calling me and you nerds, Chris.
Okay, fair enough. Nate plays Pokemon.
Oh,
I'm just kidding. All right. Anyway, so she got you into it. How did that start?
yeah. So she used to like watch like the anime as a kid, and she had like some cards that are probably still up in my attic somewhere. I'd love to find them, just because I think that'd be really cool. But so she watches like a YouTuber named ProZD, and he did something on Duel Links. So my sister was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna see if Trevor wants to play Duel Links." And at first, I was kind of skeptical. I was like, "Oh, I have to download this whole app, and it has to take like an hour to download." Because like when you download the app, you have to go into it and download like it again, which seemed so stupid to me at the time. But while it was downloading, we actually watched the first episode of the original anime, and like I was like, it was amazing. I loved it. It was actually like really interesting to watch. And by the time we were done, it was done downloading. So we ended up playing a game together, and it took a little bit of persuading, but I started playing it quite a bit, because I really enjoyed it quite a lot. Just having the freedom to kind of build whatever you wanted, really.
Mm-hmm.
And it's definitely the creative process that drove me to it, of like deck building and stuff like that, which is my favorite aspect of it, because it gave me something to do, and it gave me like a purpose and a creative outlet in a sense, which is one of the biggest reasons that I chose that over going into the woods and putting ketamine in my arm.
Fair enough. What was the first deck you put together?
Oh man, so I you can't even classify it as a deck. It was a pile of cards. It was, I think there was like a Red Eyes Fusion, there was a Buster Blader, and I think there was like a Noble Knight card in there. I think there was like 2 for hire monsters, because if I drew them together, it was insane. I could make a big number turn one, but so it evolved into my sister decided, hey, there's a game store nearby. not going to shout them out because it's competition. I don't like the place anymore.
Oh, okay.
Shout out to White Dragon. That place is cool.
Hey.
So my sister ended up getting me the deck in real life, and then she went there for a tournament without me because I was in school at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then she found out the decks need to be things like 40 cards, stuff like that. It's different than Duel Links in the TCG. So, we looked up a list of the cheapest, best cards to play in decks, and I think like 3 of them were different Karibo monsters. So, my first
For
deck
context
that I
to the
brought
other
to
listeners, those are not good.
What?
they're not.
I don't know.
They're so lost right now listening.
I apologize for this. I know Chris is going to get a kick out of it. So
Carry
my
on.
first deck, it was 20 of my favorite cards from Duel Links. There was one Red Eyes card, like a few warrior monsters, and then 8 different Karibos, and 12 of my favorite equip spells. Which, if you don't know, that's 20 random cards and 20 bad cards. Unsleeved. No, Chris is going to love this stereotype. I walked in there with an unsleeved deck in a rubber band.
Oh, no.
I was that guy. I had the paper playmat and everything.
Paper playmats are so cringe.
Loved it. I unfolded it. It kept folding itself back up because my cards were unsleeved and were heavy enough to push it down. Oh man, it was great. I love that night. I always look back on that fondly.
And so since then, that's kind of become your outlet to de-stress.
It very much has. I met a lot of friends through it. I have a group of friends I met online. We chat and play games like every night. Like we don't play Yu-Gi-Oh as much anymore just because a lot of them don't like how the game's going, but like it's understandable. Like they were definitely on the higher tier than I was when I first met them. But like no, we chat every night. I was actually chatting to them before I came on this podcast.
Nice.
We played a quick game of Rocket League, and then we played. They got on a game of Commander, which is a Magic the Gathering format that we all play together.
Gotcha. I know you played other card games.
I have a Commander deck simply because they got me into Commander and we just kind of played it together on online, and like I really liked the one deck that I'd been playing, so I decided to pick it up in real life. And I won't lie, I kind of balled it out. It's kind of like I could have gotten the deck for like not as much as I spent on it, but I liked how some of the cards looked, and I was like, all right, I mean, this is going to be a collector's thing for me.
Oh, there you go.
Imagine spending more money on cards than you need to. Could never be me.
Nah, never, Chris.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one, Chris.
Man.
For frame of reference, Chris has a deck called Live Twins,
Okay.
which is a deck full of
we're
VTuber
done.
girls.
What? All right. Anyway, so on from Yu-Gi-Oh, because I can tell my co-hosts are just completely bogged down. They're depressed by the current topic of conversation.
Oh, no.
We
I
can
will
talk
say,
about
though.
basketball.
Oh, yeah, we'll get onto that in 1 second. I was going to say one last thing, though. Trevor has come a long way because in our last case tournament on last Friday night, he came in second place, which
Hey.
is further than I've ever made it. So
There you go.
Definitely a lot further than my first case tournament that I went to.
how did your first case tournament go?
I was the Burst of Destiny one. I went like X3 and dropped by round 4. So
Unfortunate.
for those that don't know, that's not good.
That means he won like one game,
Hey, one's better than none.
if that.
I think it was the
Positivity,
bye.
All right. So yeah, basketball. Let's talk a little bit about that. Your
Chris-
professional playing career.
Sports.
Sports.
No, I definitely used to be a lot more into basketball than I am now. I used to be able to name the entire 2016 Cavaliers roster, just like off the back of my head, like bench players and everything.
Can you still do that?
I need to. I think I can name the starting 5.
Who was the starting 5 in 2016? Go.
Who? It was Kyrie,
Yeah.
J.R. Smith,
Okay.
Yeah.
LeBron, Kevin Love, and was it the Russian guy or Tristan Thompson?
It was Tristan.
I think
It was Tristan. Okay. What was his name? I love that guy.
The Russian guy?
Was it
what's his
Timothy
name?
Moskov?
Yes, the one
Yes,
who got
that guy.
a
I love
bag
him. I
from
love
the
him.
Lakers.
Him? Oh, he did. That contract was ridiculous. I was in like a Dairy Queen drive-through when I saw what the contract was, and I was like, I literally spit out my Oreo chocolate cup
That's a
affection.
very distinct memory. I'm glad Timothy Mozgov's contract made that big of an impact on your life.
Some people remember
man.
9/11. Some people remember the day their kids are born. Trevor remembers Timothy Mozgov's 2016 contract extension.
I can name the starting five, and then Matthew Dellavedova, who's actually
Right.
my mom's favorite player ever.
Delly.
He was amazing there.
It was a
in that game.
menace.
That man looked at Steph Curry and said no,
True.
or at least he tried his best.
Was George Hill on that team, or was that 2018?
That was 2018.
I thought so.
George Hill was later.
Yeah.
I think you named all the notable players on that Cavs roster.
You named their entire rotation.
Yeah, my favorite player was J.R. Smith. I always liked him because I used to watch stuff of him, and Amon Shumpert was on that team as well. He came
Amon
in
Shumpert
sometimes
was
with
on
that.
that. Oh, and Richard Jefferson.
Yeah.
Yes,
RJ.
yes, I love Richard Jefferson.
I do too.
What
Great
was the other guy?
analyst.
It was he was their back. Channing Frye.
Channing Frye, yeah.
Yeah, they Richard Jefferson and Channing Frye have like a podcast now.
Yeah,
You guys should collab with them.
There you go.
Combo.
Channing Frye and Richard Jefferson. If you ever want to be on the Small World podcast, we would love to collab. Please reach
Oh
out.
yes.
We know you're listening, Channing Frye.
Yes.
I actually follow Richard Jefferson on Instagram. His posts have they've all turned into him talking about people that call him bald, which is great. Please keep
Is he
doing
bald?
that. It's hilarious.
He's very bald. He's like shiny head bald.
He's
Oh, nice.
he is unacceptably bald.
Unacceptably
You
bald?
can't accept that he's bald now.
I cannot accept how shiny his head is.
What's an acceptable
in-
amount
even-
of bald?
Hair.
It's unacceptable because I feel like even in a dark room, it still shines.
Yeah.
Even in
That'd
a
be
dark
Imagine
room.
him in this room.
Like
Imagine
I
it
could
just
see that.
it collects the sunlight from the day and absorbs it into the night.
So he's like
It's
Mr. Clean,
luminous.
is what you're saying.
Yes, he is like
Yeah,
Mr.
yeah.
Clean.
Mr. Clean
Yeah.
just
He's
emits
Mr.
light.
Clean. It's just Mr. Clean's teeth on Richard Jefferson's forehead.
Nice. Nice.
Now, like I think the pro move is we just show up at A&T until we run into J.R. Smith.
Right, go to the golf practice.
Yeah.
Sounds like a
That's
good idea.
crazy to me.
Pop
that
out
he's,
with a mic.
So, former NBA player J.R. Smith, champion J.R. Smith from the 2016 Cavs team,
Oh, big
Yeah.
quotations there.
is right now playing not professional, he's playing golf at North Carolina A&T. He went back to school. Well, he didn't go back to school. He was drafted out of high school.
Oh,
Does
wow.
eligibility, does that matter between sports? Or-
Yes, it's
Wow.
different for each sport.
Okay, cool. So I could go back
It,
to college and play
you-
each sport for
Yeah.
4 years.
Well, I'm about to say
I
it's like
think it's you can't if you were in like a professional organization, you can't go back and play college sports teams
For that, yeah.
But you can play individual sports.
Yeah.
yeah. I'm about to say Leonard Fournette went back when he was like 27.
Yeah.
He was on LSU as a 27-year-old. So.
Crazy.
He was?
Not their football team. He went back to school.
Oh.
Oh no, he played on LSU as a 25-year-old.
That's not real.
25's pretty actually
He had-
college football. 25's not that crazy of a number.
25.
Seniors
He
can
was
be.
like a sophomore at
Oh, my.
25.
Now I
That's
gotta
an
look up
old
Leonard
senior, but it's a
Fournette.
possibility. If
Yeah.
they get redshirted and then they
He's old.
have 4 years.
He was old when he started playing. Sorry, I kind of sidetracked the basketball thing with a thing I know about.
No,
That's
it's
fair.
fine.
I don't know
I'm
too much
looking him
about
up now.
football, but
Leonard Fournette's 27. He was drafted in 2017.
Yeah, but he played young.
Austin.
Or older, I mean, I thought.
2021?
Is it?
2020. He would be 25 2 years ago. He was drafted in 2017.
Leonard Fournette?
Yes.
I saw that he had like 2 kids and was like 24 when he was playing.
There must have been another running back.
I'm thinking
You
of a
can have
different
kids at
running back
24.
then.
Is there a different Leonard Fournette?
I might be thinking of a different running back.
Different Leonard Fournette. If you want to
I'm blanking. I can't
I
get
gotta
my
stop
phone.
telling
It's
that joke.
recording. But there was an LSU running back who was like 24 when he was playing. 24,
see,
25.
like, yeah, that makes more sense. But I didn't think it was Leonard Fournette.
He was
I can't think
somebody.
of any other LSU running backs.
None at all.
I mean,
I
not
don't
off the top of
know.
my head.
Oh my.
No running backs?
Sorry to cut you completely out of the conversation, Trevor.
Yeah, I'm just
It's
blanking
fine, I
out.
understand the rambling.
My brain's in
No
Tuesday
running
mode.
back?
I was like, I know there was an old guy playing in college football. That's all I know.
That's such a
An
random.
old guy.
There
my
was an
age,
old
but-
guy.
So
This
guys,
guy my
there's this
age.
old guy playing football, right?
Yeah.
Oh man,
Tom
you know
Brady?
what we haven't done in a long time that I remember the other night. Go ahead, Nate.
Did y'all see Tom Brady's contract he got for broadcasting?
Yes, I did. That's insane.
10-year,
Tom Brady retired.
million.
He retired, unretired, and as soon as he's done playing, signed a contract to go do commentary.
10-year, $375 million, largest broadcasting contract ever.
Sounds about right. What were you saying, Chris?
You know what we haven't done in a while on the podcast?
What?
We have not answered a question from the Book of Questions by Dr. Gregory Scott.
You're lucky. You're very lucky today.
Oh, this is my favorite part. I was excited about this part.
He knew it was coming. Yes, I like that
So,
kind of motivation.
I don't know what happened. I just never brought the book, and so it's the whole segment just died.
What was the last one? Was it the
Probably
one before
Kelly.
your dad?
Kelly.
It was
Kelly,
before
yeah.
your dad.
I thought you had that for your dad, or was it
No,
it the one
Rob.
before that was the last one?
Rob, didn't you ask Rob?
I think we asked Rob one.
There was
I
Rob
remember
and
the
someone
last
else
one.
who
I
did.
remembered it was I think it was if you could spy on anyone like a fly.
Oh, because we had the mailbag episode.
That was the
Right,
mailbag
yep.
episode.
Yep.
Then
I swear there
What
might
happened?
I think there was one after that.
I don't know.
I thought it was Rob, but maybe it wasn't because we talked basketball.
No,
a
because
lot with Rob.
we went mailbag, ECU, then my dad. So the mailbag one was the last one.
Okay.
So it's been a 4-episode hiatus. Anyway,
nice.
all that. Also, while we're on the topic,
Yeah.
for our listeners, if you remember back to Robert Cunningham's episode, Trevor had a brilliant take on Rob on Friday, and I just want him to tell y'all what it is.
All right, so
All right.
keep in mind it was like 1 a.m. at this point. I'm waiting for
Don't try to make it better.
I'm waiting for the top 8 to finish up, and Rob's sitting there. He's talking. I look at him. He looks at me. We make eye contact. It's a very, very good experience, you know. And I say to him, I say, Rob, you're my favorite NPC.
Dang.
And I meant no offense by it. I meant it in the nicest way possible. It's like every time you talk to him, it feels like when he's done speaking, you have a little like option box on what you want to say next.
Bro, if I was Rob in that moment, I would have gave it just a generic response of like a prescriptive, just to...
Must have been the
You
wind.
violated the law.
It feels like he could give you a quest if you oh wow, words.
There goes his brain.
If you pick the right dialogue option.
Yeah.
There's that one picture going around of him that he looks like an Oblivion NPC.
Bro,
You know who took that picture?
Did you take it?
I took that picture. And you know what that picture was? We'll plug it in the show notes for our listeners.
Now that you think about it, it's just like random things. Like I just go to the card shop, we take a table for supplies, like, and then we leave. Like,
Shouts out to White Dragon for letting us borrow a table for the ECU episode.
Nice.
This is the picture in question. But
I don't know if they can see that.
I don't know either, but we'll pretend like they can.
We'll
Anyway,
figure it out.
so that
I'm
picture,
gonna ask him for a quest on Sunday.
There you go. Do it.
that picture was actually a picture of our newly renovated snack bar, and he just happened to be walking by when I was taking it, so I zoomed in on him. That's the original picture.
Oh,
Rob
nice.
is the best. Him
That's
and
pretty
John,
good.
man.
I love my
They
coworkers.
make that place worth going to.
Okay. Anyway,
And the people like Chris and you know.
those are
The
the real
other Chris.
employees.
Oh man, then there's Chris.
Not Brantley. I said we would never speak his name on this podcast.
Oh, but you said
you
it.
already
No,
did.
what did he do to you?
The name who
Nothing.
should not be named.
He gave me a ride home, so I can't be too pressed with him.
True, he
Aw.
did. Shouts out to Brantley. Brantley, you're not welcome on the pod.
Dang, he probably listens to this, Chris.
He doesn't, I promise.
Oh man.
All right. So today's question from the Book of Questions is question number 24. Would you completely rewrite your child's college application essays if it would help him get into a better school?
What?
No. I'm just kidding.
Wow.
No, that's
No,
that's
work
not.
hard, kid.
Trevor, what do you
Just
think?
kidding.
I as being a child myself, I absolutely hate it when my parents tried to get involved in stuff like that. I would say no. just because. I mean, if you don't get in your dream college because you wrote a bad essay, I feel like that's one of those tough lessons that you just need to learn. Work better next time.
I agree.
No, they doing it themselves.
I'm definitely a strong believer in tough love over coddling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if they didn't earn it, then I mean, it's
I don't have to worry about it. My kids are gonna have an author for a father, so
yeah, true.
which means they're
Writes
gonna
one
end up
article.
resenting writing.
if they resent writing, cool. But like when they need that essay done, I'll proofread it. I'm going to
I'll proofread it.
I'm going to completely rewrite it in the sense that I'm going to tear it to shreds and then make them make a better version of it.
Oh, okay.
I feel like
one
that's
thing,
definitely
but-
the best way to go about it.
100%.
Yeah, they got to fix it. I'm not writing them for them though.
The follow-up question
Rick
is,
came writing an
if you
essay.
did help them, how would you explain to them the difference between this and cheating? And there's
Oh.
not one.
It's cheating. Pretty simple
Using your
answer.
resources is not cheating.
I
There
can
was
still
there was a
internet my
video I watched a
resource.
while back. Yeah, like unless you've got like the textbook under your desk and you're flipping the pages with your toes, like it doesn't matter what you do to pass a test, because ultimately school isn't really like school is not a good way to measure someone's intelligence. Like retaining information and then vomiting it onto a paper at the end of every other week is not how you measure someone's ability to function.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing that I'm an advocate for, is like renovating our school system and our education system.
Yeah. I've met some pretty stupid smart people.
True.
Oh yeah.
I am a pretty
it's
stupid
the people
smart person.
it's the people who think they're smart on paper but could not live in the real world.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Those are the
that was going to lead me into my final question for you. What are your goals going forward?
with my life, I definitely like to graduate from a 4-year college after I'm done with a 2-year community college. I'd love to.
That's what I did.
I'm going into business entrepreneurship. I'd like to do what Rob does. I'd like to open my own store eventually.
Cool.
Nice.
It'd be really cool if it could be a card store. Just because I've been helping I've just been kind of learning the process of it with a startup company in Philadelphia, who's a guy I'm really cool with, really tight. You know, we're gamers. Up in Philadelphia, start his card store. I've been kind of learning the process through that, and it definitely seems like something that I feel like if I worked hard enough, I could achieve one day, which has definitely been a big dream of mine over the past year and a half.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on the pod. We appreciate it.
Yeah, not a problem.
Do you have any parting wisdom to leave to the people before we sign off?
Don't do drugs. Stay in school and eat your vegetables if they've been steamed properly.
Unless they're singing Christian themed music.
Right. Unless they're singing his cheeseburger.
Then you put them in the trash for blasphemy.
I
would like
will
to,
not have the VeggieTale slander on my podcast.
One
This
final,
will not be.
one final
See,
note on
we
that.
never never brought them by name. I do have a shout out. Shout out to the monkeys in the zoo. That's what my friend group calls themselves.
Okay.
I'm definitely going to
was
force them to
very
listen to this episode.
Austin held his breath there for a second.
What?
No. Just like a Zodiac reference.
Okay.
Nice.
I'm with
I
you.
will definitely be forcing them to listen to this. But
There you
no,
go.
if that was if we're wrapping it up, definitely thank you guys for having me on. It was definitely a really cool experience to be on here. Just listening to the podcast. I mean, it's pretty cool.
It's nice. The feeling is surreal.
Nate had something else that he wanted to say.
There's not really words for it. It's just kind of one of those experiences that you go there and you're like, yeah, that happened. I'm glad it did.
For sure. And it'll be something that you'll always have to be able to listen to
True.
until
I'll
the
show my kids it
EMP
one
goes
day.
off.
Yes, until the EMP goes off.
Oh yeah, my Cold War Rage nuclear device in my room. I forgot about that. I should probably turn that
man.
off. I think my cat's gonna turn green.
It's a nuclear injury.
I think Nate had something else he wanted to say before we wrapped up.
Oh, it was just about VeggieTales. It's not important.
No, it's important.
Okay, I was going to say the initial VeggieTales episode's quality was terrible. But
They pioneered
It went-
CGI animation.
They did.
I will not have this slander.
Just wrap it up. Just wrap it
I
up.
will
And
not.
I'm sorry. I did have one more thing. It was a request I made before the podcast in reference to my homemade Baja Blast. I did have a request from Christopher before we left.
Okay.
Do you not remember?
No, I don't.
Oh, Chris.
I'm going to have to ask you to say Baja Blast like Hank Hill.
Oh. I'm about to go down to Taco Bell and get me a Baja Blast. That one's free. But all the ones after this, listeners, come with a fee.
Patreon.
Patreon content. Oh, man. Oh, thank you so much, Trevor.
Not a problem, man.
And thank you, listeners. And we will catch you next week with another episode of the Small World Podcast.